right, let's get started. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our last weekly discovery session for 2020. We started these in March and have been going strong since. So thank you so much for everyone for joining us for this one and everyone in between. We're excited to say that we are going to be continuing these on for 2021, so for the foreseeable future. So we'll be joining back in January 15th is our next one. So we're going to take a break over the holidays to have our Friday afternoons. I know we'll miss you guys. I'm sure you'll miss us. Today I'm excited to have Corey Diamond, our Executive Director of Efficiency Canada, join us today for what is a love fest for energy efficiency. Thanks for joining us today. Corey, can you explain what a love fest is?
Sure. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining on this last one. So what we wanted to do was to celebrate. And, there's so many, our news feeds and the radio and everything is just so full of so much bad news and some troubling times and frustration out there. And we thought, you know what, there's been so much good stuff happening in our sector. Let's just end the year off with the first annual Energy Efficiency Love Fest. And celebrate and just go through, some things that we should all be excited and proud about for the work that everybody's been doing, but then also open the phone lines to all of you and hear what your highlights are and what you want to celebrate this year. So Natalie normally has just one rule, which is no sales pitches on the discovery session, but today we have two rules. So number one, no sales pitches, that always stands. But the second rule is got to be positive. So we're only talking good stuff. We're only talking fun stuff, great stuff, things to celebrate, things to be grateful and proud of. As we go and turn the page into 2021, we want to have go off on a good note and ride the good vibes into the next year. So I'm going to get us started, and I'm going to go through just a few slides. I've got 5 things that we can celebrate that can kick off the Love Fest. And then Natalie will facilitate kind of an open discussion, and we'd love to hear from across the country, even outside of the country, if you're joining us from outside of Canada, to talk about what you want to celebrate this year. And we're going to compile it all. We're going to post it all. We're just going to share it around, and going into the holiday break and into the new year, we can kind of ride this wave. So let's get started. The first thing, and I think a lot of people who've been paying attention to the sector have seen this, but first thing I wanted to celebrate was just ongoing federal investment and policy direction federally on energy efficiency. And this year we saw it actually, all really started in the fall, but we saw announcements totaling $6.1 billion for building retrofits. So this includes the $2 billion that was set aside for financing through the CIB, $2.6 billion for a home retrofit program, and an additional $1.5 billion for a municipal building upgrade program. So all of this is exciting stuff. And I think, many of us who work in this sector will be involved in the nitty-gritty details of program design and implementation. But I think it's important to take a step back and recognize that we're moving in the right direction on this, and that it's, if you tallied up all of the investment that happened, by provincial governments, this is about a doubling of that. So there's about twice as much money in the system per year to support energy efficiency, and I think that's something we should celebrate. The other thing that we saw, not just on money, but the first chapter of the brand new climate plan that was announced last week is about getting rid of, helping Canadians get rid of energy waste. And I think that's symbolic. I think it's great to see energy efficiency, highlighted as one of, if not the top priority, in the text. And it does outline a lot more than just the money side of it. And if you haven't already, our colleague Brendan Haley wrote a great blog this week kind of summarizing 16 ways that this new climate plan helps to advance energy efficiency. So I really encourage you to check that out. And the other thing we're seeing federally is some movement on things like building codes and standards. And while the latest model building code coming out this year is not as aggressive as we would have hoped and doesn't align completely with the kind of ambition around net zero emissions economy by 2050, it is the most aggressive model building code this country has seen. And so I think, again, something to celebrate and be happy about. But all of this stuff means that, you know, we are on the path, but we do have a long way to go. And while we are all out there, you know, pushing hard on the work, we also have to recognize that this is just, you know, another step in the right direction to achieve what we all want. So, so great thing to celebrate right off the bat is the movement federally, the profile that energy efficiency has federally, but recognize too that we got a long way to go and we're not stopping. So that's the first thing. The second thing I wanted to celebrate was provincial action, and you know, a lot of you have been involved in the provincial scorecard and know all about how we benchmark and rank the provinces on their policies and programs. But there's a lot to celebrate at the provincial level. We've got, you know, individual provinces like BC pushing hard on enabling programs like building codes. We've got Quebec leading on transport. PEI, I mean, it was really great, you know, having done the scorecard for the second year, we actually get to create a most improved category. And PEI, you know, I think exceeded many of our expectations with their leadership around programs and EV charging, program savings, et cetera. We're also seeing that if we took year over year spending, so our scorecard looks at the previous year, and so if we looked at the previous 2 years, we would see that spending has gone up across the board on average. So that's something to celebrate. We don't have the 2000 data yet, so, you know, changes in Ontario and Alberta, plus changes related to the pandemic, it remains to be seen where that's at. But for today, we can say that, you know, previous couple of years, we have seen spending going up across the board. We're also seeing provinces enacting more stringent building codes, which I think really does set us up for kind of this net zero energy future that we're all pining for. And then we're also seeing some really good moves like legislatively, you know, related to things like PACE financing in different provinces across the country to, again, to set us up for the long term. So, you know, if you haven't had a chance to dive into the 260 plus pages, I don't know what you're doing, but get on it before the holidays. But if you don't, lots to celebrate there and lots to read up about on our website and through our social feeds. And you can see some of the great stuff that's happening across the province, across the country at the provincial level. The third area I wanted to celebrate, and this doesn't get as much focus or kind of shouting from the rooftops, but I do think it's a great trend, and I think it's something we all need to step back and think and celebrate of, and that's municipal action. And you know, coming off a year where many Canadian cities, I think almost 300 Canadian cities have declared climate emergencies, we started in 2020, we started to see some real plans to back that up, to work backwards from the science and actually enact some really bold moves. And a few come to mind, you know, on the West Coast, we saw Vancouver taking really aggressive action in their climate emergency action plan. They're calling for a 50% reduction from the built environment of carbon from the built environment in the next 10 years. And they also included embodied carbon, which we thought was really interesting, and calling for a 40% reduction there, investing in workforce development. There's a whole number of great big moves that they're going to be working on and showing great leadership on the West Coast. As you move east, you know, Montreal just a couple of weeks ago announced their brand new climate plan. They're going to eliminate heating oil from all buildings in Montreal. And they're going to launch a rating and disclosure program for large buildings, which is really great to see, following in the leads of cities like New York City and others in the US. As you continue to move east, you look at Halifax and the brand new Halifax climate action. They want to go net zero on all new construction by 2050 and retrofit every single building in Halifax by 2040. So really exciting stuff happening at the municipal level. And it's not just the big cities. We've seen, you know, news items flash across our desks around smaller cities, medium-sized cities that are really tackling this, who have very aggressive and, you know, enlightened city councils. One that comes to mind in Ontario is the town of Whitby, which is just east of where I am. and they passed the Whitby Green Standard, modeling after the city of Toronto and their leadership on it. So it's great to see some of the smaller and medium-sized cities kind of driving this again, and I would expect that there's a lot of momentum for cities to tackle climate and have energy efficiency a core part of that going into 2021. So really want to celebrate municipal action. The fourth thing on my list, and this is all of you, and all of the things I just talked about federally, provincially, and municipally, none of it happens without an engaged sector, without an organized and interested and passionate sector of people who are making it happen. And this is across the country. We are seeing this every single day. People who are telling their stories, who are meeting with their elected officials, who are putting this on the policy radar. So this year we had over 1,000 letters sent in to elected officials from people across the country. We had over 50 meetings between constituents and their MPs talking about how they're contributing to reducing the impacts of climate change, but also growing jobs and growing the local economy. We had 163 people join Energy Efficiency Day, smashing our record from the year before. And it was really cool to see, people kind of sharing it on their networks, and then politicians, also tweeting stuff out and sending stuff on Facebook, even making videos some folks made. So it was really great to see the celebration on that day of everything that we've been doing. We now have over 12,000 individuals in our network of people we connect with on a weekly basis, which is growing exponentially each year. And then we've had over 1,000 people, unique individuals, join these sessions, these webinars and other webinars that we host. So, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that, without this kind of organizing and this kind of building of a sector, none of the big policy and investment areas happen. And what's really exciting is that we're able to do this during a pandemic, and it shows really how resilient this sector is, how engaged the sector is for change, and how motivated everyone is to kind of continue to drive this agenda. And so I just want to celebrate all of you and all of the people out there who do this every day and work with us to kind of keep energy efficiency at the top of the policy radar. Okay. The last one is I want to talk about is some international leadership. And I think this is a huge thing for us to celebrate, even though probably none of us did it, who were influential in making it happen. Certainly we weren't. But, obviously the election of Joe Biden as the president and Kamala Harris as vice president is huge for the sector in the US and by default our sector as well in Canada. The climate plan that they released as part of their platform talks about upgrading 4 million commercial buildings and 2 million residential buildings in the next 4 years through energy efficiency retrofits. Huge focus on electrification and infrastructure and railways and EV charging. And a really interesting focus and a very exciting focus around justice and equality and making sure that the benefits that come out of energy efficiency and these kinds of upgrades help out disadvantaged communities, and up to 40% of those benefits flowing there. So I do think there's a huge impact for us as far as supply chains and policy coordination, and I think into 2021 we'll be working on that. I also think there's a huge market now. If it wasn't big now, it's even bigger. And as big markets open up for Canadian technologies and services and things like that, it can only do wonders for the energy efficiency sector here. So I do think that's a huge thing to celebrate for our sector, and as Canada and the US work much closely together on the climate file, energy efficiency will ride that wave for sure. The other area that is to celebrate is in Europe, and Europe has launched this campaign called the Renovation Wave for all 27 member states in the EU, which will increase standards for all existing and new buildings, will provide consistent funding to member states, a big focus on workforce development and innovation. They're actually calling for the creation of what's called the new European Bauhaus to work on new innovative models and technologies to drive us towards that net zero energy future. And what I think is really interesting about this is the interesting parallel between how the EU works with its member states on something as big as this, and how Canada federally works with provinces to drive this as well. And I think it's something we could probably learn and get inspired by, to figure out how we all work together to drive the agenda. So I just wanted to celebrate, what's happening in Europe as well. It's a huge part of the shift globally that we are part of, and lockstep between US, Canada, Europe, European Union, and other parts of the world. There is a big momentum and movement towards an energy efficient economy. So I wanted to make sure we definitely celebrated that as well. So just to conclude, I think, a lot of us, are passionate about the work we do, and we are facing a climate emergency. This is what we are all working towards mitigating. And I was on a call with our colleague Ralph Torrey this week, and he was saying, when the house is on fire, you expect the fire truck to show up, and he was kind of still expecting the fire truck to show up. It hasn't showed up yet, but I do think these are great signals. The 5 things I outlined are give us hope and really good momentum and signals that the fire truck is coming, if not on its way. And you're all driving that truck and making it happen. And this is what it looks like, if we're talking about a renewal of the Canadian economy as we kind of round the corner on the pandemic and look to the future. If we're talking about net zero energy and kind of transitioning to that, we're starting to see what that looks like, and it's really exciting to see, and all of you are what it looks like. And so I just want to kind of conclude with that and just say that the 5 things I've outlined to celebrate are all underpinned by all the hard work that everyone else does, and we're just so happy to be part of it. So now it's your turn, and what do you want to celebrate this year? So maybe before we open up the lines and unmute you or read off what people are chatting about, Natalie, what do you want to celebrate? Why don't you add one?
Thanks for asking, Corey. So actually, this is when Corey and I were chatting about what we were going to talk about this week. I read something and it really resonated with me, and it was, while we're all focusing on what we lost in 2020, what is something that we gained? And Corey went over a lot of things here, but a big thing for me was actually something that someone said to me when I first started with Efficiency Canada, and that is that the Minister of Natural Resources, which was Minister Sohi at the time, he gets clippings, newspaper clippings about energy efficiency, well, all of its sectors, and so including energy efficiency, every morning, and he reads them. And there wasn't, when we first started, there wasn't a lot of energy efficiency. You can imagine what else the natural resources minister has across his desk. And so there was always stories, always news about the other sectors that he looks after. But since we started, and especially this year, the news and energy efficiency that is going out there, I just want to celebrate that. And that's not just because of Efficiency Canada, that's because of you. You're all writing op-eds. And you're creating news about yourselves and about the sector. And really, that's coming across the minister's desk, and he's getting those in the morning and saying, oh, this energy efficiency, tell me more about it. I want to learn more. This is really exciting. This is a real opportunity for Canada. And so our sector is creating noise for our sector, and that to show that we're an important part of Canada's economy. And for me, that's a huge thing I want to celebrate. So I just wanted to bring that up. So now we're going to turn it to the floor here. So if you want to, there's 2 ways you can comment here and join in this love fest for energy efficiency. One is to raise your hand and I'll unmute you, and you can just celebrate yourself, or you can type in the Q&A box. And so it's not questions this time, it's just more so comments, and I will narrate them for you with as much enthusiasm as I can muster. And so let's open the floor again. No sales pitches, please, and no negative comments. We're just going to celebrate all the good things here. So let's open the floor. Trina, do you want to go first?
Hi, thanks for the opportunity. Just wanted to share some great news from Alberta and the Municipal Climate Change Action Centre, which is a collaborative of the 2 municipal associations in Alberta. We have now 8 electrically net zero villages and towns in the province. We have 124 municipalities that have participated in our programs over the years, and lifetime energy savings with those participants is over $74 million. And the center itself has celebrated over 10 years of work that was recognized with an Alberta Emerald Award, which is also really exciting. And then the last couple things I'd like to share are related to community generation. We had a municipal community generation challenge this year, and we had awarded $6 million to 2 projects. One is a solar installation in the town of Smoky Lake. That's a partnership with the Métis Nation of Alberta and Smoky Lake County. And the other one that's really unique is with the town of Tabor. They will be repurposing legacy oil and gas infrastructure to community solar development. So just a few successes from Alberta to share.
Very cool. Thanks for that, Trina. And I think, you know, in a challenging year where we unfortunately saw the closure of Energy Efficiency Alberta, it does not hamper the incredible work that there's, you know, a network and ecosystem of champions doing on the ground every day. And so in the face of all that, to see that kind of success. So very cool. Thanks, Trina.
Now we're gonna, Baron, do you wanna share what you're excited to celebrate from 2020?
Just making sure I'm unmuted. So proud to follow up from Trina, our Executive Director for Municipal Climate Change Action Center. I'm in the Clean Energy Improvement Program team for the same center. And I'm happy to say that after years of hard work by the Clean Energy Improvement team, first at Energy Efficiency Alberta, and now with the Action Center here, MCCAC in Alberta, we are poised to go live with a PACE-style financing program for energy efficiency and renewable energy improvements in Alberta, in select town of Devon, Rocky Mountain House, and soon to also be the city of Edmonton. So it's a very proud moment. I guess I'm communicating this on behalf of the whole SEEP team, that we're very excited to have it launch early next year. It's really, yeah, it's a lot of hard work that went into it, and we're all very excited to see where it takes us in 2021. So a lot of positive vibes.
Nice. And I can hear you smiling, if that's a thing. I can hear you smiling as you're saying it. So that's great. Great passion.
I know. It's funny, something I heard is that Tyra Banks, when the America's Next Top Model, we're told she taught everyone to smile, but smiling with your eyes, it's like actually a word now. And since we all have to wear masks now, we're like, you know, we all owe Tyra Banks the thank you for teaching us to smile. So I thought that was quite humorous. I actually see one here from Jenna Bentley. She says she's celebrating all that we all get to get up and do this work every day, and the passion of the people in this sector that helps keep her going. So again, just lovefest. Thank you for all of you and everyone from Jenna Bentley. And I see there's others here. I'm gonna go to there. Gurmeet, you want to share?
Hey, Natalie and everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Gurmeet from City of Winnipeg's Office of Sustainability. Really good to see all the people coming and, you know, celebrating what we have done in the pandemic. From our Office of Sustainability at the city, we are really happy that we have a voluntary building benchmarking and disclosure project under which we have over 150 buildings participating currently and expect more to participate. We are also working towards an energy efficient, affordable housing program. And we are also updating our community inventory as well as setting up targets in a better way to reach our 2050 targets.
Excellent. Thank you, Gurmeet. And I didn't mean to not include Winnipeg. It just ran out of time, but I have been reading things about the work that you guys are doing, and it's great to see. And across the board, there's hardworking people who've been kind of relegated to their home offices, and they're still doing it. And so thanks for sharing. That's awesome.
Yep.
I see one here from Megan, I believe it is, and she said that she would like to celebrate a growing awareness about the importance of gender equality, diversity, and inclusion in the sector, and the importance of a just, clean energy transition. So that's definitely one I'm also happy to celebrate and to share, and that's come to light a lot in 2020, I think.
And I will say, I'd like to celebrate Megan for being, one of the leaders on that, and Step Up has done some really awesome work already on a limited, if any, budget, but you're driving the agenda, and thank you. Yeah, I want to celebrate you for your work on that. It's awesome.
Yes, thank you. And if I don't say your name, it's only because in the chat, I can't see who it's from. And I see one from, I think it's Zaina. It's cut off if there's more to your name. So plain and simply, thank you to you all for your insight, your passion, your concern for all of our friends, our futures. Not so long ago, we would have been called tree huggers. This is true. And now we are all considered forward thinkers. So that is very true. So here's to
I still want to be called a tree hugger. You can still call me a tree hugger, Zaina. That's awesome.
And I see our friend David Katz here. Do you want to add something, David?
I'm celebrating the fact that we have the Continental Automated Building Association, which used to be the Canadian Automated Building Association that we set up over 30 years ago, is actively involved in making those buildings smart and energy efficient, including many of the members of the Energy Service Association of Canada. So I think the deep retrofit is a great opportunity for, improving buildings. And I celebrate the fact that they've just issued a study on energy efficiency in buildings regarding with COVID. So that's available for those that want to read it.
That's awesome. Thanks, David. And I actually think that is a great thing to celebrate in general, is kind of more coalitions of people getting together, figuring stuff out, and making connections beyond just the traditional kind of energy efficiency side, and bringing in some of all the new stuff that's happening. So great thing to celebrate. Thanks, David.
I will just add that the education, we need to educate. Where are we going to get the workforce, Corey? We've got to get these Carleton and George Browns and Senecas to train more people.
All right, so awesome segue. One of the best segues I've ever seen on DiscoverEE. Juliana Dutke from the Canadian Green Building Council has put it in the chat that, and if those who don't know about it, there's a great new coalition in Ontario called Workforce 2030. She says we're celebrating and launching this year the Workforce 2030 and having Efficiency Canada and all these labor and education and industry associations and companies kind of come together, recognize the importance of workforce development and training for retrofits and new zero carbon constructions. And she thanks me and the team for our work in helping to shape that new coalition. I would say we barely did anything, Juliana, compared to what you've been doing. But as a segue from what David said, I do want to celebrate this part too. We are well on our way of knowing what it's going to take to build the workforce. And there's some really passionate people kind of driving that part of the agenda. So awesome thing to celebrate.
She lowered her hand there. A few people are saying they also agree. They're very excited. I see one here from Saskatchewan, from Jason here. In Saskatchewan at Sask EV, we are grateful for the development of the Tesla sales/delivery center in Saskatoon, bringing more EV models to the province. We're also grateful for the development of the Co-op Connect EV fast charging network, important steps to aid EV adoption in Saskatchewan. So that's from Jason at Fast EV. So thanks for sharing that, Jason. Oh, let's see here. There's a few more here. Is there anyone from Manitoba, Nova Scotia, anyone in the Maritimes? I know you're here. If you want to say something that you're
usually we can't keep the Maritimers off this. It's like just constant. Now, like when we need them, they haven't showed up.
No, they get shy. I'm gonna go through here. So if anyone wants to raise their hand and say what they're grateful for.
I see one in the chat from Sunil Gupta. Maybe I can read that one, Nat.
Yeah,
too many great things in finishing strong in a challenging year. My top thumbs up. Awesome. There's 5. Number 1, a new generation of sustainability practitioners who are recognizing sustainability as a core strength in moving things forward. Number 2, the federal program, 6 billion plus, recognizing the multifaceted benefit of energy sustainable management. Number 3, the recommitment of US-China to the Paris Accord. That's great too. Yeah. Number 4, the renewal of the ISO Save on Energy programs. Yep, that was great to see. And number 5, the importance and elevation of ESG and GRESB framework. So yeah, lots of movement there as well. So Sunil, thanks for adding 5 more things for us to celebrate.
We have another one here from S. Thompson, I'm going to say. All I see is THOM. So connecting and learning from this group, sharing this group's message on my company's internal sharing platform. So I'm saying that I'm thankful that you do that. So thanks for sharing the message and for getting your colleagues to join us for discovery sessions and for our advocacy efforts and just creating noise around energy efficiency, that we are a sector and we're loud and we're here and we contribute to Canada's economy. An important message to give. Oh, here's Emma from the Maritimes, from Nova Scotia. Thanks, Emma. So she says that Nova Scotia, she's thankful because Nova Scotia introduced a benchmarking pilot. So lots of great municipal climate planners introduced out here this year. HRM and Western Region Economic Network is worth noting. 2 deep energy retrofits penalized pilots are underway. That is exciting. Lots going on in Nova Scotia here.
Yes. And let's celebrate Emma Norton for her leadership with her colleagues at Quest and all the work Emma does on the ground at Nova Scotia for many years. So thanks for that, Emma.
Yeah, and if you haven't read it yet, Emma wrote a fantastic op-ed in the Chronicle Herald recently. I think it was just last week or the week before it came out. It was in the Quest newsletter. If anyone gets that, is it definitely a worthy read. I'm just gonna, Courtney here is just, she's in Nova Scotia and returning after a couple of years in Alberta. So I think that's something to celebrate. Celebrate a move. Just trying to get through everyone here. Everyone says happy holidays. So I think unless anyone else has anything else they want to share, I think that's probably, oh, Sherry Young. I'm thankful for a lot of people from Alberta here today. So I'm thankful for Alberta moving forward on renewable energy and efficiency, despite a reputation for being dinosaurs in energy. So yay. So yeah.
Great to see. Yeah, fantastic. And I would encourage everyone, I think we're kind of posting some of these on our social feeds today, and maybe we'll kind of launch something on LinkedIn after this. So, you know, talk to your colleagues at lunch or you know, send messages and then share in the conversation. I mean, you know, it's great to hear from the select few of you who've kind of posted stuff and come off mute, but for every one of yours, there's probably 10 other stories to celebrate. So we want to just get all that out there and do that. So yeah, should we just wrap it up then, Nat?
I think that's good. I think people can use extra time for their day, I'm sure. So thank you to all for coming today and for joining us every Friday as we celebrate energy efficiency and learn new things. I know I definitely look forward to Fridays. So thank you. And, you know, everyone saying Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Merry Christmas, Happy Solstice, Happy holidays just in general. We're going to be off for the next 2 weeks. So, but we are coming back on Friday, January 15th with Gen Next Builder. So we're going to be joined by Sarah, who's a mentorship coordinator at Toronto Community Benefits Network. And she's going to talk about the fantastic work that they are doing with the next generation of builders for our sector. So if you're looking to be a mentor or wondering about mentor programs or working with different groups across Canada, it's a fantastic one to join in. I'm really looking forward to having Sarah join us on next year. So thanks again, everyone. Have a fantastic new year, and we'll see you in 2021. Take care.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks.